I'll do it then.
Just a sec. Let me send. Here's a link you can put in your team chat. Just join that. You can join via Discord.
Don't we need a? Oh, okay, yeah. It like connects with Discord.
It should, yeah.
Okay.
Alright. We got 2 people in, missing 1.
Yeah, I'm joining.
Just a little info on me. I'm Natter. I've been coaching for way too long to remember. I've coached in pretty much almost every single region. Contenders. I'm in NA right now, Third Impact. Before I was in PAC with Global Esports. Before that I was in South America. I worked a little bit in AU Contenders. I worked in EU Contenders as well. I freelanced a little bit in Chinese Contenders, and then I was in Korea for Top Tier 3. And I just do a shit ton of coaching. And I'm a senior in computer science at University of Illinois.
Didn't you guys win Contenders?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you guys won.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to see you guys play against Montreal Defiant, but they got kicked. They got fucked.
Yeah, we normally beat them in scrims. The only team that really gives us trouble, I'd say, is probably Envy or Owl teams. But officials are obviously different. Envy's pretty good. So our quarterfinal match is probably really the hardest match we had. But yeah. Alright, let's see here. Running. Alright, well, so the first thing I'm going to say is why the hell are you guys pushing without Urana?
Here I think he was setting up the stream to record.
We
didn't realize.
Started my game and shit.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
What SR are you guys? Just so I get an idea again. Okay. Pause. The over. I have no idea why you're scoping in like this. You shouldn't do that. This is not needed at all. They're tanks. But I'll focus on macro. Okay, you teleport in a sim.
Kabachi's the only one that took it. Save Kabachi, save Kabachi.
You're trying to shoot through sim shield.
Okay.
So first of all, like, why are we running sim all of a sudden? Explain me your logic.
Here I think we were trying to match their sim for like shield break.
Okay, so that logic isn't really that smart. If you want to counter sim, what's the best hero to counter sim?
I want to say like range, like McCree, Pharah.
Pharah is good. Doomfist is probably one of the best. I don't know if he's banned in this week or not, or whenever you're scrimming this, but Doomfist is very good because you can one tap, right? And you're in and out. Pharah is really good too because of spam. Or the best thing to counter sims is flanks, right? Because sim is so tunnel vision on your front line and doing damage front line. So if you flank with Kree, right, and like go around left and right side, you're gonna get a lot of value. And then you just coordinate. So your Kree goes like, I'm flanking. Okay, push in 3, 2, 1. You guys push first. Kree pushes after. Just like walks in, stuns, fans a hammer, rolls, and just dinks people and just gets value. And then they're forced to turn around, and they turn around. Then you push in, and you get value. So you should never like mirror. Like you shouldn't want to mirror compositions to try and beat them. You should be trying to play your own comp. Understand if there's a playstyle change you need to do. To beat their comp, like to have a win condition. If there's not a playstyle change, then do you need to like make 1 or 2 hero swaps so you can get a win condition? Or do you need to make a comp swap? That's where you switch your whole composition to get a win condition. Does that make sense? This is the order of how it should be. Playstyle change first, then it should be hero swap, then it should be comp swap. You did a hero swap, which is fine, but I think you should look at playstyle change first. Which is when they have sim, they're always tunneling like front line. We have Orisa Ryan, they don't have anything that can peel in the back line. So taking angles is really good. Verticality is really good too because they have no high ground potential, but in this map you don't really have verticality to an extent. So like you want to take flanks a lot.
Kabachi's the only one that took it. Save Kabachi here.
They have Ryan Zarya, so it's really, really important that you call their bubbles. Like you keep track of their bubbles.
That there was a turtle. My bad.
Sorry, my dudes.
I used wall to save Kabaji, but he tilted.
Yeah, Ryan, you gotta take that TP first.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Why are you? Kill him.
Reset.
Nice. Alright, stop. Whoop. Like, it's a scrim, man. Take it more seriously. Like, holy moly. Stop, like, waving and stuff.
You really want to win this next fight.
Okay.
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
Ana
ultimates,
BAP, which is interesting.
Pretty much everything, except for.
Why are you running Ana BAP?
Call window.
Okay, 3.
Because I'm a tank player, I was forced to play support that scrim.
Oh,
And
okay.
my only okay support I used to main is
Go
Ana.
on.
Okay.
I'm a really bad BAP.
I'm
Or
breaking
anything
turrets.
else.
No more turrets.
Ryan's on the ground.
McCree 1,
I'm on Cree low.
Okay. Oh yeah, if you're gonna run BAP, like I'd say like try to play BAP Zen or something, because like BAP is like something that like plays as a slow type of hero, right? Who plays for spam and like lamp to control space and hold space, and Zen is something that like gets a lot of value over time. So like BAP Zen is a lot better than BAP Ana, right? Ana wants like a mid fight like type of hero who's like not super aggressive, right? Like Brig is like all about brawling and getting like, really aggressive. Ana is like the mid, and Zen is sort of like damage over time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So with BAP, you want something that like actually like works with BAP's kit. Because right now, Ana BAP is like very awkward because like you're trying to play slow but like sort of fast at the same time.
Sorry, dead.
But if it's a comfort pick, fine. Like I can get that.
Good fight win.
We got Blizzard.
They have no mail, so I bomb offensively here.
That's fine. It's a good call.
You just
Let's
want to
use
use
mail.
Sim.
Let's use mail first. Use mail first. Wait for Zarya. Almost then mail.
You should bomb first, just like you said. That was a good call.
They're probably gonna TP up.
And you called wait to bubble too. That's also a really good call if you were gonna mail. And right over here is actually like this is a really good time to actually like look to bomb or mail because they just rotated, right? Whenever they're rotating, they're in disarray, right? And they probably just use speed boost to rotate. So looking to mail or bomb while they rotate is really good because then you can push off that. Yes. What's your question? Because it's more of an aggressive enabler, whereas mail's a finisher. And if you can win off an enabler, that means you can save your finisher for another fight. Because if you look at their composition, like if you just like again full off bubbles, they can't really eat the mail, right? So if you get 1 or 2 people, you just win the fight. You should. I mean, they can counter alt or do something else, and like you can lose it. But like primarily, you'll win the fight. If you get a bomb and you like sort of like break their shield, or like you can bomb and just go for a pin on their Ryan, right? And like get like a kill there. If you force bubbles or something, and then you win the fight too. And Diva like in like mid fights is really useful, or long fights is really useful because like DM is just so strong, right? Because you can eat pretty much all the damage on the enemy team. You can eat Fire Strike, you can eat well I guess they have Zarya. It's weird, but like you can eat Lucio, you can eat Fire Strike, you can eat I think they have an Ana. I can eat Ana shots, and they have a Sim which you can't eat, which is one of this like one of the situations where it's a bit awkward, right? But like normally you can eat almost all the enemy team's damage if they're brawl or they're spam. So it's like really powerful. So having a mech actually mid fight is really strong. So trying to like use the enabler to try and win the fight instantly is good, right? If you don't win it, fine, then you can mail after and then win the fight off that. But trying to like the whole concept of sort of like let's just use one alt that isn't like the best alt because you're at 0 to 99, right? So like you need to like win at least 2-3 more fights at least, right? So if you were to win one fight off bomb, right, and just bomb, that's good because you'd have another fight you can win off May alt, and then since you're only using one alt to fight, that's really good alt economy because you can build up alts later. Does that make sense? Like ideally, you only want to be using 1-2 alts to fight because that's just strong for alt economy.
I actually have a question about like the like using Diva at the beginning. So would you not want to initiate with like a male because you said she's like it'd be better to use it for like a mid fight
So
or like
here, let me just explain it this way. Do you guys run brawl a lot? So like Ryan, Diva, May, right? McCree. Tell me if there's anything different that you guys have. Okay, when I just you can stop me.
Yeah, McCree.
Lucio, I guess now because Lucio's not banned, and then maybe like Ana, right? This is what you normally run.
Yeah.
That's what I usually run.
Ana or Babs.
Diva or Zarya.
Diva or Zarya, sure. Okay, so this color's awful. Let's try this color. Better. Okay, so like enablers, right? Are the alts that like help you like take space. That's like how I define an enabler is sort of like take space, look to like if you take space with brawl, it's really good, right? Because you can like walk forward and push them. Take space, force cooldowns, or get kills. Right, that's how I sort of define an enabler, right? And so if you look at it, like Diva Bomb is a really good enabler, right? We can use the name because Diva Bomb like allows you to walk forward, right? And they're forced to kite, like they're forced to shield up and everything. They could beat and hard push you with the bomb. They could do that if they're smart. But most teams will sort of just like try and kite the bomb, try and shield the bomb, or whatnot. McCree is also an enabler because McCree alt holds space, right? It also forces them to like not push. Like you can Cree alt and walk up on them. You can Cree alt and like swing on them. Why? Because Orion's forced to shield unless their diva is DMing your Cree, right? But if you're Cree alting, your Mei should be freezing their diva, so their diva can't DM, and the Orion's forced to shield, and then you swing on the Orion, and the Orion's forced to take the swings because the Orion has to shield, right? So Cree alt's great for taking space as well because you can just push with it. You can also deny space, right? If they're pushing really aggressively, you can Cree alt, all of a sudden they're forced to stop, right? Lucio ult is also an enabler because you never really want to use beat reactively, because using it proactively inside the tempo of the enemy team is always just straight up better, right? Because you're forcing them back, you're taking space, and it's just better. Mid fight also, like a tempo switch, is beat is really strong too, right? Like, you know, let's say your team's really low and you're even, and it's like the fight's been going on for like 30 seconds, right? You decide to like, hey, I can beat, we can push. So you beat, you push back in, right? They're really aggro. Nano or Square, it's also an enabler, because Square you can burst someone down, just like you said, right? It could be a finisher, but it's not guaranteed, hence it's an enabler, right? It could be a finisher though, and if you don't have Fire Strike, right, then well, you're playing to spam damage, break shield, and hopefully like force a lot of cooldowns so you can take space again. Nanoing Ryan, nanoing Kree. Nano Ryan, you take a lot of space, you force them back, right? And maybe you get a kill, maybe you don't, but you take a lot of space and allows you to push forward, aka enabler. Finishers being Mei ult, because you freeze them, you just win. So like Mei ult and sort of Shatter, obviously, if you land it, like that's sort of a finisher, but Shatter's like sort of like a weird one where it's like I'm not gonna go too much into it because it's sort of like if you get value, you get value, right? And like yes, you can set up Shatter, you can like Kree alt Shatter, you can Diva Bomb Shatter, you can Square Shatter, you can break shield and Shatter. Like, there's a lot of options you can do with it, right? But I'm not gonna go too much into it. Does that make sense? Like enablers and like finishers?
Yeah.
That's how we sort of like, that's how the head coach sort of defines it in Third Impact. Call it enablers and finishers.
I'm grabbed.
Zarya.
Nice. You should be scoping in like this.
Lucio.
Oh, you're gonna get a lot more coaching on it just because I see your POV.
I blocked his Shatter with my wall.
You only scope in. I was doing a session with an Ana like literally 2 hours ago, and like the only time you really scope in is when you're looking at squishies or you really need to hit a shot, or it's like range, right? Otherwise, you're unscoping things that are close to you normally, and yeah,
Yeah, I was just
like unscope big targets.
Yeah, it's
on-
long.
yeah.
There's a lot there. Window fire strike. Window fire strike.
Sure.
Call him.
Like you always start with enablers, and then you look to go with finishers. If it's a really, really important fight, you need to be aggressive, then you look to go with a finisher. Let's start.
Watch for grab. Do they grab?
Good nade.
They
Yeah,
grabbed,
they
yeah.
grabbed.
They're close to wall.
So just so you know, like you have Mei, I'm pretty sure, right? Look to wall them off on this choke, and look to push them. You're literally letting them rotate for free. Whenever you have a Mei, you always want to play to punish chokes and rotations, right? So make sure you're actually punishing them. Right now, you're just literally letting them get away whatever they want.
Window when they go point.
Just LOS, that LOS. Oh.
Like, and because you're so passive here and you're not doing anything, you're just letting them like push you. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, they went for an enabler first. They took space. They actually got a kill off it, and now they're just pushing forward and taking space. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because they went first, they're taking space. They're forcing you back. They got a kill, and now you're gonna force to try and push back in. Do you guys know what ebb and flow is? Push and pull.
Atom flow?
So one second, I was gonna send you a video to watch. Is this okay. Here you go. Can you put this in your chat? Oops. Just watch this, let me know when you're done. It's a good example of ebb and flow. Oh wait. Coco goes up. Ryan drops. Okay, right over here, right? Now you're gonna see, right, roughly over here, Alarm will eventually get a nade, right? So now that nade is now go time, right? That's a trigger. So now Fusion has a trigger to push back in, right? And now Defiant want to try and back up. They want to try and live, right? So now you'll see Fusion, the pink, push really hard, right? They're pushing really hard. You see the Nano. Immediately Defiant wants to push back in, right? So now Defiant now will try and push back in with the beat and Shatter. That's them pushing back in with beat and Shatter. Now there's beat over here, in which now Fusion wants to try and live and wants to keep going. So now that's them beating to try and contain, but also at the same time also trying to push back in, right? And then you see them high noon too at the same time. So there's like two things with that last arrow, and they end up winning. And they win. Coco goes up.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Neko, you done? Are you done? So like essentially here, like when as soon as you kite, right, you want to be looking for a trigger or something to push back in on them, Just because they killed you and they took a lot of space doesn't mean you're gonna sit here and just keep taking it, keep letting them push you, right? Like they pushed you here, right? So you need to look to push back. I mean, yes, you can stay on point and play for point and whatnot, and look for walls because you have a May, but like you should be looking to push back in with something. Okay. And as an Ana here, you're very, 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 very out of position. Play with the team. Stop doing that! Holy crap, man!
Oh, I have to get
You're throwing, man. You're legit throwing. I'm.
Yep. Just
Don't
fight,
do that
just
again in a
keep
scrim.
Fight going long. We want our healers to get back.
Your main needs to work on walls because like you're not getting any value out of walls. At this point, you shouldn't even be playing May if you're not getting like value out of wall.
I'm playing behind them.
Like you're playing May to punish chokes and stuff, but you're not doing that.
I'm going on. I touch. I touched.
This is one.
I can nano you. You should need to vocalize that.
You got it.
If you didn't like unscope there, you would have got so much more value.
Almost dead. Kill him. Then sorry.
Or like just stop like scoping in when you don't need to. You have big targets, you don't need to scope in. It's the cast time's too long.
Oh shoot, the turret.
Yeah, the.
You can. Anyway, the only one alive. I think it was loose one. Damn it.
In all honesty, a lot of stuff you need to work on is just straight up basics. Like playing together. I know you have trials and stuff, but like playing together and like making sure that you're like actually like committing on targets together.
Oh.
Like holding chokes correctly.
Ball.
This is just a messy fight.
Just keep focusing the ball. Or
Oh
actually,
my gosh, he does.
Reset. We lost a round, we can do it.
And like they have a Lucio, which is like honestly like really good. Why? Because Lucio can peel, right? Like boop people away. So if your sim's high charge, the Lucio just boops your sim away. If your May's trying to free someone, the Lucio just boops that person away. Plus they have a Kree, so they have a double stun, right? They have boop to peel, and they also have McCree stun. On top of that, they have a ball, which is weird. But like what I'm getting at is like they have these two things which allow them to like deny people. Like the stun allows to deny anyone doing one thing for a little bit of time. The boop allows the same exact concept. And that's why like you see a lot of Lucio right now. And also ebb and flow because of push and pull. Because you can speed in and kite. So if enemy
getting shot by turrets, the first thing people should
who kills the turrets? Sim turrets? Whose job is that? Yeah, it's a Diva's job.
be shooting at is the
that's true.
I'm just gonna TP on bridge instead of window, okay?
that's fine,
This is
that's fine.
interesting.
Trying to get some
That-
value while everybody else was
Interesting.
spawning.
Definitely a very
Oh,
interesting
shoot,
pick.
I got
And
booted.
ball.
Yeah, like you guys are just like missing like the basics. Like you're trying to rotate when they have a ball, right? Like and like the basics is ball goes for displacements, right? So how should you rotate? Well, you should rotate together, and when you rotate, you will go through white because it's the least amount of resistance in terms of rotations. And like, let me get the map out to show you what I mean. Where is? Second. So all you do is when you go this way, right? And then when the choke you're scared about is like right over here. This is the area, right?
Mhm.
So what you do is you scout first. You always scout in general. You should always be scouting. Like where's the ball? And then what you do is you do a 3-2-1. So you say 3-2-1. Rotating in 3, 2, 1. Then you push up. Oh, so one second. Let me do all in order. First you scout. Okay. And who you scout is you're scared of. If they have a May, you're scared of the May because the May can wall you. You're scared of like the Ryan because the Ryan tells you where they're holding. If they're holding really close, like over here, then you know they're gonna push you hard. If they're holding back here, then you know they're gonna push you around here, right? So Ryan tells you where they're holding and how their aggression is set, right? If you're rotating here, if you're rotating to white room and you see the Ryan over here, then you know that they're gonna push right over here. Does that make sense? What I'm saying, guys?
Yeah.
And then May tells you where you need a wall because you need a wall off the May to push through chokes. And if they have a ball or like some kind of flanker, right? You need to keep that in mind too because when you rotate, the flanker might go on you, right? So when you're right over here, you scout all of this. So first you scout, then you do your rotation, right? And then 3 is sort of like the May wall, right? So if you scout and you say the ball is like the ball's playing the right side or the left side and looking to go like this, right? All you need to do is you need to look for a wall that's right over here. Why do I want the wall this side and not this side? Why do you want this wall?
We want ball to be chopped in with us, so we can.
Yes, exactly. You want the wall to be trapped in with you guys, and that way you can get value and you can just blow them up, right? If you just put the wall over here, the wall gets stuck, right? And he can't push you. But then, like, you know, what can still happen actually is you guys can still get booped. If you put a wall over here, the ball is stuck with you. But on top of that, you can't get booped by Lucio or anything else too. So you're creating your own environment, making it so you can't get booped. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan purple. Ryan goes dead. Run one, run one.
Yes.
Oh, it's
Why?
so
Oh my god, that's gonna honestly gonna piss me off for the rest of this VOD review. Is you just literally helloing for fucking no reason. And so one other thing I'm really strict on, okay, is like comms in a sense. So what I mean by that is like, don't depend on your IGL like a lot mid fight. In a sense, because of ebb and flow and how stuff works, right? You guys need to be vocalizing what you want to do with your own ults. I really like these colors. So what I mean by that is like I can end you, I can end you, I can end you, push, like, and then you need Ryan, you push, right? And then you can be like, can you look for mail here? Can you look for mail here? And the mate's like, yeah, I can mail, right? So it's sort of something like stuff like that. For example, here I'll show you a scrim, and you'll immediately notice the difference in comms. Show you a glimpse, peek at it. I don't want to like leak it. See here, bots. Is it? This thing. 1 second.
Do you think it matters what role is like an IGL or?
I
is it
normally
like an
have the person
optimal?
who's the smartest on your team in terms of like macro sense. It's easier obviously for main supports or like tanks because they see things really well. It's like this. Okay, so here. So I'm gonna share something, okay? Application share. Okay, so this is a top tier 3 team versus a trials team in EU. Okay, I just want you to listen to comms. I haven't looked at this at all, to be honest, so I have no idea how their comms are. But I know the team, and I work with the team, and I know their comms are good. I just have no idea like how good the scrim is, but let's sort of look at it. You'll immediately notice what I mean about like comms. There's a massive comm difference. I just need to find. Let's just go to the start. 1 second. There's a start. It's right here. Okay.
I mean, I think we could avoid that, right?
So advanning Kygo.
No, they have
Okay.
At least.
Okay. So what are they? What are they doing? Wait, can everyone hear it first?
It's a little low.
Sort of. It's pretty low though.
A little quiet. Okay, 1 second. Let me make my headset less than 1 minute. 1 second. Oh, lower. 1 minute. My headset's like glitchy when I approach its volume. Damn scroll wheel. Okay, 1 second.
Oh, I'm low. Okay.
Let me also get better quality. 1 second. You see it. 1 second. But this will like, you'll hope this will be sort of eye-opening in terms of like what like a good team sort of has in terms of comms and like how, what I mean like mid fights and what everyone should be looking to do mid fights.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have diva, they have
And then this type of stuff, trust me, doesn't happen overnight. Like I've been working with this team quite a lot. Okay.
Right.
So both team are playing Brawl. Okay. We're looking at the blue team. Okay. The blue team is the attacking team.
Charging my DM.
I
Okay,
go
ready.
ready.
Mace on statue left
Okay,
side.
I'm low. Okay,
Yeah,
3,
Sun
2.
going.
Okay. So what did they first say? What's the first thing
They
they
call out
mentioned?
May.
They call it.
Yeah. Yep. They call positioning, and then what's the thing there right after that?
Their countdown to push.
Yeah. Or rotate, right? To rotate. So let's watch.
Watch 3 top.
So look, I want to point out here. 1 second. It's application crap. Oh, but like can you see my cursor? Actually, I don't know if you can see
Yeah.
my cursor. So like, do you see how squished together they are?
Hmm.
Like literally right now, if enemy team tried to poke them or anything, like it's not even fucking, it's not possible. Like it's literally not possible. Like they're so together perfectly that like the enemy team can't do anything, right?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Diva. Anna.
Yes, with Anna.
Go right to top, right to top.
Wait, can you just wall up their top? And...
No, we can.
We can
Diva close to right here.
Okay.
Yeah, speed into it. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, Lucian's not here.
They're not
Take
here,
out,
they're not here.
Take out.
all of them.
Okay, wait.
Don't go fight.
So no, they're calling stabilize. The Lucio who's calling like stabilize. That's the IGL Lucio player.
7 seconds. Hide stairs.
So they're chilling. They're chilling right now. Why are they chilling? They're chilling for cooldowns, right? They just took a shit ton of space, right? And they don't want to push. Why? Because they don't have cooldowns. They don't have good shield. They don't have speed boost. They don't have DM, right? So they're waiting.
Team, wait. I go their main.
Okay, wait.
So Diva's forcing point.
Wait, you can't
Are you
hear
ready?
it.
I can do Alana.
Speeding.
Going.
So did you see how they waited for a wall too? Because the tempo is in this brawl is set up by wall, right? So if you get a good wall, you push off that, right? Because you want you split someone up, so you push off that. So if you get a good wall, you're obviously gonna push off that. So the Mei, while all this hesitation or not hesitation, stabilizing is happening, is looking for a good wall. Mei gets a wall. Immediately, what happens? People push.
Yeah.
Middle.
I think they got counter walled. I'm assuming.
Lucy was one.
I will run away. I will run away. Just committing to stairs. Just committing.
Go stairs. Come here. There's Diva one sleeping.
I'm big heals. I'm on Ryan.
Target.
Do you see how like Lucio's also calming, having heals, targets? Okay, one second. I want you to listen right over here. This is will be important.
I'll check. They have
Immediately, so as soon as after every single fight is done, okay? I don't know if you have an alt tracker, I think you do. But like I always make it a team's responsibility to alt track. Like what I mean by that is like because I'm an alt tracker. I used to shot call when I played. I was a shot caller and alt tracker. And I was basically known for my shot calling. My mechanics were fucking garbo. Like I was a 3.8 gate player peak, but I scrimmed like my team scrimmed 4.4k, and everyone on my team was like 4.2, 4.3. Right? The only reason I was on the team is because I would literally carry with shot calling. Like I would be like, they have these ults, they're gonna do this, we're gonna do this to counter them. So I'd do like three things, and like that would be very good because I'd be thinking always one step ahead of the plan. Right? But the thing is, when you play high level, right? Your alt tracker, your shot caller, guess what? Sometimes you forget. Sometimes you tunnel vision and you're preoccupied on other stuff and you forget to alt track, right? So it's really, really, really important that your team, who has 5 other people on it, can say one simple thing. They can just say alt check. If they say alt check, that immediately wakes up your alt tracker and says, okay, yeah, they had like they used this last fight, they had to use this, they have this, right? That way it's not just on your alt tracker to like remember every single time. If your alt tracker does remember, that's great, right? How they're using it here too is he's saying alt check, which immediately tells people to shut up, right? Like be quiet, we're alt tracking. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. Nano dead eye for next. We need to keep claiming high grounds if they're high ground. Let's keep scouting for next fight. We want to close distance with walls and look for Nano Ryan.
There's 6 by the way.
Right, so notice again, it's literally like basics, like scouting again. Like they're like, okay, watch. Why? Because at a really, really, really high level, believe it or not, McCree's just flank a shit ton. Like all they do is flank. Like they'll play high ground, they'll come behind you, flank, and as soon as they flank, the enemy team just rushes at you. Right? The same concept I was talking about in the sim thing, right? Where your sim, with the enemy team that has sim comp, right? Your McCree just goes left, right on Lijiang, and then flanks, and then your team pushes in. So that's why they're constantly saying scout, right? So you should see the D.Va on coping, checking high grounds.
Can we take space?
So take space. So one of the biggest things about this composition is how do you want to default hold? How do you always want to play default with this comp?
Brawl.
Wait, say it again.
Brawl.
Sure, but how do you want to position? Like how do you want to position?
Taking as much around corners and taking as much as possible.
Wait, what about corners? Say that again.
You said holding corners?
Around
Yes,
corners.
yes. You always want to play corners. So you're moving corner to corner always, right? Because corners allows you to stabilize, right? It also allows your Kree to get a lot of value. Because when you're playing this composition, you're normally playing for your Kree, right? Because your Kree wants to be able to have the best LOS. If your Kree, like your carry essentially is the Kree in this comp. Why? Because you're enabling your Kree. Because if your Kree can see everything, then he can shoot everything and he can get value. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, like, we're pushing carts. Look, like, you can see the Ryan, like, slowly moves forward to this corner right here, right? So notice again, like, he's constantly calming the D.Va high ground, like, D.Va behind. Why? Because really, really, really good D.Vas. Dude, you guys watch Owl?
Yeah.
Do you watch London Spitfire? Have you seen London's play? Celestin? So I scrimmed London a lot until they moved to Korea, obviously. But Celestin, what he does is 180 degree flanks. So this is for Zube, who's like the D.Va player team, right? So what he does, he'll literally come behind the team and literally DM your entire enemy team, right? And then when that happens, his team will then push in really aggressively, right? And 180 degree flank is really risky, right? Because the enemy team could just turn on you and like start shooting you. But D.Va has like 4-second boosters now and can fly away. I think in what Al was running is 3 seconds, I believe, right? So then fly away, right? It's obviously still risky though because you can get stunned and whatnot. So the timing is really important. This type of flank is a 90 degree flank, where it's less risky because you're more at range, but still you can DM and still cover a lot of area. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like enabling your team, right, like behind your team, you're just denying their entire team, which is also very good, right?
So
and
how
also
often
focus. Yeah, go ahead.
How often do you think D.Va should be looking for that kind of play, like being like the 180 or in like 90?
I'd say if you have point control, a lot more. If you're pushing, a little bit less because it's harder. Like the only reason why this worked out, why is because the D.Va was able to set up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If the D.Va had to like push with the team, there's no way this would have worked because the D.Va couldn't have been high ground or set up. Like if there's no time to set up, then you have to play with your team. If time to set up, then you can look to off angle and whatnot. What I want to point out here too is look, the D.Va's right over here, right? Look how the team is looking right now. Do you see most of the team is looking at the D.Va, right? I mean, I've trained this team really well, so they're not all gonna look in future. And most teams would actually all look at the D.Va. And if they don't look at the D.Va, then the D.Va just DMs, right? And they get a lot of value, right?
Yeah.
So the only people who are actually looking at the D.Va right now, which is smart, is really the Mei, right? Because the Mei can freeze the D.Va.
Can freeze, yeah.
Right? And then what that happens, right, is this Ryan then can push up and take aggro, right? So they're baiting aggression on the D.Va, right? And then Ryan can take space. So look.
Yeah.
So like look. So now they look for the wall, right? Then this is red team. They look for a wall because they bait aggression with D.Va, and then they push in really aggressive. Does that make sense? That enemy team's concept here. And then so this is the ebb and flow right here, right? So when ebb and flow is red team looks to push aggression with Mei wall, right? And ebb and flow doesn't have to be just ultimates. It can be C's or anything too, right? Like we Mei walled, we messed up our Mei wall, and enemy team's like, okay, they have no Mei wall. Let's push, right? Hence the D.Va starts off angle. They look for a Mei wall. They look to push here, right? We call break wall, right? Then nano, and we're like, okay, and then like our Mei's like, it's okay, it's like I Mei ult, it's still winnable, right? Because if he gets a big Mei ult here, right, we can probably get 2 or 3 kills, right? And then we can turn the fight. Yes, we might lose our Reinhardt, but we can still turn the fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So other way of looking at it too, let me put it this way: if you lose your Reinhardt, what's the first thing you want to do?
Fall back.
What? Okay.
Wait, if you're Ryan
Murakami, am I saying your name right?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe split.
Okay. So let me ask you this: if the team pushes you and you have no Reinhardt, what's gonna happen to your team?
You lie.
Why?
Because they have shield and you don't.
Yeah, because you have no shield, right? So if you know that you can't kite, sure, maybe sometimes you can kite. But the thing is, the enemy team has a wall, right? And a wall can kill your kite or rotation, right? So in normal situations, as soon as you lose your Ryan, that means that they put resources into killing your Reinhardt, aka CDs, HP, alts, whatever it was. They did stuff to kill your Ryan, right? So they should hopefully be low, right? So actually, as soon as you lose your Ryan, you should probably go aggressive to kill their Reinhardt. Why? Because if you kill their Reinhardt, then you're even. Second of all, if like in this situation, let's say it's first point, or even this situation right here, if you lost your Reinhardt first, right, that means your Reinhardt's gonna come back first. Normally, right? Well, whoever died first spawns first. Then the question is spawn distance, right? So if Fake Line dies here first, right, and we kill their Reinhardt later, we have spawn advantage, so Fake Line will come back first. So we can take a 5v5 fight for a bit, and as long as we sustain then, right, for a bit, like if like they go really aggressive, they kill our Ryan, right? Then we go really aggressive, kill their Ryan, and then we chill, we try and live. Our Ryan comes back, and we're like, and our Ryan's like, I'm coming back, stack on me, get ready to push, right? Our Ryan comes back, we push instantly, then we take a 6v5 fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you the other question. Your Ana dies mid-fight. What should you do?
Yeah, fight's lost.
Probably, right? Because you have less heals, so the fight goes long, you're just gonna lose because you have less heals, right? So should you kite, or what should you do?
Kite.
Yes. If you get kills, it's still winnable, right? Like if you lose your Ana, if you kill that Reinhardt, then you have your Reinhardt and you have a shield. They don't have a shield, right? So it's still winnable. The fight is, and this is something that a lot of people don't understand. If you lose someone, the fight is almost always winnable. Almost always. It's just a matter of, are you gonna get lucky a little bit, right? Is the enemy team gonna make a dumb mistake? How low is the enemy team when they killed your thing? Are they out of position, or do you have some advantage? Like it's like there's little small nitty gritty niche things I'm not gonna go into. But like understand that fights are almost always winnable if you just lose one person. If you're aggressive enough and get a trade. What did you say?
As long as you say aggressive, yeah.
Yeah, as long as you like go aggressive and get a trade. If you just stand there after you get a kill and let the enemy team stabilize, then you're probably not going to get any value, right? Because all the CDs that they used, or all the HP, whatever alts they used to push you and get that kill on your Ryan or Ana, if you just chill there and let them stabilize, then they're going to get full HP, they get CDs back, and then you're taking a 5v6, right? And they have all the advantage. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's why they Mei ult here, right? And we're saying winnable, right? Because technically, it's still technically winnable, right? So like they use Nano, they use Crealt, right? Now we use Mei ult, we use Nano 2, right? So we only get the Ryan it, but look how hard they're pocketing the Ryan. They're DMing Nano and he's healing. So, and then we get the Mei, and then they shatter, right? So now if you actually look at this, believe it or not, this is actually sort of good for us. Why? Why is this sort of good for us?
Because they've committed ults.
They use a
Yes, we forced them because of that May ult. We forced them to believe that it's still winnable for us, which it technically is, right? And they used even more ults, right? So they used Nano, McCree ult, and Shatter, and we only used Nano and May ult. So we traded 2 ults for 3 ults. When that fight was technically lost for us, right? Technically, quote unquote, right? But we ended up coming victorious because we technically used more ults, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like we were smart about it. Now, in all honesty, it probably wasn't super great because May ult is a finisher, and they didn't use their May ult.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, if you went into a real big thing, right? Yes, they used Shatter, they used Kree ult, and they used Nano, and we used Nano, so Nano trades for Nano. Then is a May ult really worth a Shatter and a McCree ult? Debatable, right? Like, debatable. But, like, that's still not bad. Like, that's what I'm getting at, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's still not bad.
Shadow.
Higher.
And I know watch out for bomb. May.
So immediately we all track, so immediately we're all tracking again. So again, after that, we're talking rotate.
We can easily fight that. If we wait for them to go to the choke, we are screwed.
Yeah, so one thing they're explaining here, right, is they don't really want to let the enemy team take space for free. Right? Like what they're saying right now is they made a mistake. What they did is they played over here and gave the enemy team a free corner and free space. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? And then they kited back into a choke. This is one of the worst chokes in King's Row. Why is this one of the worst chokes in King's Row?
It's very small.
It's very small, and what else? Well, isn't that a good thing for the attacking team? So why is this one of the best chokes for like a defensive team to hold?
Because it's fat.
Because it's what? What did you say?
It's deep. It's a deep choke. Isn't it? And because behind on the attacker's team, there's only one. Like you can only go on the left.
Okay, so let me explain it this way. First of all, this is May wallable, right? May wallable.
Yeah.
So if you have a May, that means you can just wall and split someone up. Is the first thing, right? Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you define chokes is hard chokes and soft chokes. Soft chokes is where you it's not May wallable, and you can sort of just rotate in many different ways. For example, like, what's a good example? Boskaya first point attack, like the truck where the truck is. Like, there's 2 sides, right? So it's not May wallable, right? This is May wallable, so it's like sort of a hard choke, I like to call it, right? The other problem with this is there's a payload that goes through this, and I can't really show it because I can't draw because it's application share. But like the payload sort of gets like in this area right here, right? And when it does that, that creates these 2 small little tiny chokes, right? Like these 2 little slim ones. And when that happens, the attacking team is forced to either play in those tiny little chokes or on top of the payload. And that's not very fun. Why? Because you're all squished together, and it's very easy for the enemy team to cleave like Ryan, like, you know, swinging on you, or just straight up do damage to you. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's why this is very good, right? And yes, like there are other rotations, right? You can be smart and immediately say like, hey, let's go high ground, let's like go behind them and try and like take this corner and flip the map, right? Or let's go left and go that way, right? Those are all smart ways of doing it, and that's what people should be doing a lot, but a lot of people don't do it sometimes, right?
We need to wait for Explorer to get his mech.
So we're chilling for him. Get mech.
If they push him, we just engage him.
So we're smart, right? Because like this is a diva, no mech, right? And our May is not even seen, right? So we're scared that if they push Explorer, Explorer can die, the diva, right? And we can't do anything about it, right? So that's what they're calling.
Okay.
But now our May's there.
I don't know.
Guys, do you want to go all the way behind?
I think May is below you. May's below you, I think.
Base below.
See, it's like remember, see, like they're constantly calling May. Why? Because if we try and drop here, we're just gonna get walled and split, right? Like May is so it's honestly stupid how broken May is right now. It doesn't matter if they keep like making her wall cooldown longer and longer. The fact that she can wall and split a team up while they're rotating, that concept is just broken, right? So like you have to constantly call where their May is.
Wait for Meg.
You can flip.
No.
No, actually.
So-
D1 me.
Okay, we got diva mech, good.
I drop barrel.
I drop too.
Okay.
Are you ready? I'm gonna move. Mezat.
So one of the biggest thing to realize here is notice our May is very vocal about his walls. Very vocal. He's constantly like, get ready, I'm gonna wall. Why does that matter? Because when we wall like this, we're pushing through a choke, so we can push through it. So he's saying 3, 2, 1. He is actually guiding our like rotation or how we push through it, right? It may not be the best wall. Why? Because the May's here and we didn't wall the May off. Yeah, I think you thought the May was like over here in this corner, right? So not the best wall, but the concept is there. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we look to push, right?
They're under
And like right over here, you can see how awkward it is, right? People had to sort of like go up, like up over it, right? And that's awkward. Notice our Ana stayed high ground. Why? Because our Ana can look for nades. This is something for you to learn as Ana. You should, if you have high ground positioning, always take it, right? Like a very basic rule, and something that they didn't do very well on the first fight. But as soon as you cap King's Row, okay, or any point, and you've got payload control and you're pushing, you have two options, okay, in terms of who pushes up, right? This is like one of the biggest things that people don't understand. So if you cap, who do you think should push up? Or better yet, who do you think should stay on cart?
Ana.
Okay, anyone else have any other answers?
From what I've seen, it's always Ana.
Okay, so let me ask you this as an Ana player: do you like playing on payload?
No, I don't.
Why?
Because I cannot. Yeah, because I cannot help my team, but it would be the same thing for Lucio. He would be able to help even less.
So the answer actually is based on two different situations. Okay, let's say you cap and the enemy team has all fire spawns, right? Which then means there's not going to be a fight happening immediately, right? So if there's not a fight happening immediately, then we can leave our D.Va on cart. Why? Because D.Va has mobility, right? And everyone else can just push up. Hence, like, you leave your D.Va on cart over here. Everyone push up and go take space. Put your on a high ground. Put your McCree on some flank. Have everyone start poking the enemy team while they're trying to rotate and come back, right? Does that make sense? Because your D.Va can just fly to the team when the fight starts. And your Ana can play high ground now, which is nice for Ana, right? Because your Ana wants to play high ground. Now, if the enemy team is close, which means a fight's going to happen very soon, your Reinhardt needs the D.Va, right? Because your Reinhardt wants the DM. Make sense? So who do you think pushes the cart then in that situation?
Ana.
Yes, Ana, right? And your team needs the Lucio always. Why? Because they need to push up and push out. The speed is too important, right? So the Lucio always plays with the team. Because like if like let's say you're chasing staggers for instance, right? Let's say you cap and they have 3 good spawns, 3 bad spawns, right? You'll leave an Ana cart because your Ana can heal people hopefully, and your D.Va can help the team push up, and your D.Va can help the Ryan, and your Lucio can help speed, right? This is why it's very important as soon as you cap, you understand how many staggers do they have, how many people are in bad spawn, and stuff like that, because based off that, that's who stays on cart. Also, the other reason why D.Va is really good is because D.Va has verticality. So let's say you made a decision, this is not probably the best map for it, I'll give another map example, but let's say you made the decision to say like, okay, as soon as we cap point, we're all going to go high ground, right? And rotate high ground and push. Our Ana, if our Ana was on cart, our Ana couldn't go high ground, right? But if our D.Va's on cart, our D.Va can just fly up as soon as the fight happens and join our team. A better example would be like Dorado, second, right? Attack, let's say you're attacking Dorado second, and you all want to rotate high ground because you don't want the enemy team getting high ground, right? If your Ana stays cart and you start fighting high ground, your Ana is useless. But if you leave your D.Va cart, right, and everyone rotates high ground, then your D.Va can just fly up and join the fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Zube, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Any questions so far? Okay, cool.
I'm dead. I'm dead. McCree's one inside.
One.
It's calling D.Va bomb. That's a really good habit. You should do a D.Va bomb. You're constantly calling the 3-2-1s your team knows.
Equal.
So notice how in the mid fight we're saying we're equal, we're up 1, we're down 1. Why is that important to know?
It's not if it's winnable.
Yes, right. Yes, exactly. So
I'm hiding.
I shoot.
again, calming like how to deal with the situation. So this actually wasn't as good as it should have been. Like the wall is great, but the wall wasn't calmed before. Like he should be saying like, I'm looking at wall, I'm at wall and one, I'm looking at wall, I'm looking at wall. Why? Because again, wall sets tempo. As soon as we get a wall here, we should be pushing instantly. If you look at the situation here, and this is me being very strict on this team because I'm strict on this team because they're really good now. So it's all nitty gritty stuff, right? But look at this time delay before pushing this wall. So 1, 2, 3. It takes about 3 seconds. By the time we actually push, we get counterwalled, right? And that's not good. And I know you guys don't actually run Lucio, but let me explain you why Lucio is so good. Lucio has that boot potential, right? And because you have boot potential, you can deny Mei. So our Lucio is always looking to boop their Mei out. And why is Reinhardt, do you like that? Booping the Mei out.
Walled.
You don't get walled or
Frozen.
You don't get frozen, right? And that allows your Mei to do what?
Wall or freeze.
Yes. So if your Lucio can deny their Mei, right? Your Mei doesn't have to freeze their Mei. Your Mei can focus on freezing their Reinhardt. Does that make sense? What I'm getting at?
Yeah.
And that's like really good. And then your McCree doesn't have to worry about anything either. Your McCree can focus on just like breaking shield or stunning or flanking, whatever the hell your McCree wants to do. Your D.Va, same thing. Your D.Va can focus on DMing Reinhardt, playing aggressive. Your D.Va uses micro missiles though on Mei. Why? Because your D.Va wants to try and force cryo. Does that make sense? You can use, if the people are really far away, then you can use micro missiles on shield. Sure, that's fine, right? Or you can use it, try and get a final blow. That's also fine. But like if you see a Mei like sort of like trying to like go on an off angle, like for example, right over.
I'm hiding.
I shoot.
Like right over here, right? A lot of Mays like go wide a lot. Why? Because they have to go wide because they have to get a wall, or they have to go wide to like over here to start freezing the Ryan from an angle. Because if they freeze Ryan like this, what does Ryan do? Ryan just shields, right? So a lot of Mays will actually go wide, right? And when they go wide, that's your chance as a diva to easily try and rocket them or boop them away. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what? When they're wide and you force them to cryo right over here, look where their Ryan is. They're very out of position. And that's when you can just like say, hey, May, like focus May, May no cry, and we kill May, right? So now I push in. We get counter walls.
Okay, shield. No shield.
Behind.
Run. I flash. I hide.
So I notice how like target caller is still calling stuff, right? But at the same time, right? And yes, like targets weren't called a little bit, and that's on them. But as soon as that's happening, still there's other ones saying like someone else is still saying like how they want to use their ult. Like the IGL here isn't saying like dude, you need a Creole, you need a Creole, right? Or like you need a male, or we need to play for Nano, right? This person in the mid fight is responsible for his own ultimate. This person in the mid fight should understand how to use his own ultimate, right? He's the player. He should understand how to use his own ultimate, right? Like the May player should know how to use the May ult. The Ana player should know how to use the Ana ult, right? So like what?
Diva ban.
Can we fuck this man? Fuck me up.
Sorry.
Another.
So like this fight's like if you notice this is insane ebb and flow. I'm not gonna go all into it, but do you see the push and pull here?
Yeah.
Like it's insane, right? Like this is like a trials team, like a EU contenders trials team that I think just missed contenders and got relegated to OD playoffs, and this is a top tier 3 team, right? So now we're pushing, right? Right? And we end up winning it. Like we end up winning it, and that's huge. Why is this huge? Because this actually is only one fight, but during the whole fight, the payload pushed to a position right over here, and when the payload's right over here in King's Row, that's when you only have one fight left. Like the second point becomes 2 fights. Very basic, okay? Whenever you're an attacking team, on second point and third point, you want to try your best to make the fight only 1 fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And a defensive team always wants to have 2 fights on second and third point because you want to try and run their timeout or force ults and then try and re-engage, right? So like what the defense team could have done here is played really aggressive on defense, tried to force as many ults out as possible, right? Save their ults, and then second point try and re-engage with their ults and then try and win that way. The problem though, with this meta and a lot of metas, is whoever has point control, whoever has the map space, normally has an advantage. Why? Because the enemy team has to push into them, and the person who has point control or map control essentially can like wall them, they can deny, they can do a lot of stuff. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Watch May bomb dead eye.
Can you spin me? May bomb dead eye. Almost another chatter. May bomb dead eye. We need to play with May ult.
Let's keep pressuring their shield hard so we can have free shadow into them. We can look for May ult here. If it goes.
So notice here, he doesn't just say we can shatter. He says how to elevate our shatter. Does that make sense? When you say you want to use an ultimate, that's great. I'm glad you're calling like how you want to use an ultimate. Let's say you want to nano Ryan. Fine. How can we help Ryan get more value? Okay, well nano Ryan, I will boop the May. Think about whenever like a very advanced level, when you get a really high level, is first of all, when we use an ultimate, how can we help that person to elevate their like status? If we're trying to mail, right? How can we help with the mail? Well, we can try and force their bubbles. We can try and make sure we wall them off, right? McCree can try and like flank or something. We can make sure we DM, or we can try and force their DM. Like small things like that to elevate so that we can get more value, right? There's 2 steps of this. The first step is think about how your team, right, can help your May in terms of just like using their cooldowns and whatnot. The second step, which is really advanced, is thinking about what they're going to do to try and counter it and try and counter that. For instance, if we have Mail, a smart team on an enemy team would be like, let's say for example they had these guys that beat, okay, and we have Mail. I tell this team what they should do is they should beat and just run into our May, like literally just run into our May, right, and sort of hold DM so our May can't May ult. And what is our May forced to do? Well, our May is forced to cryo, right? And what's if you're after a cryo, after you come out of cryo, well, what are you going to do after a cryo? Well, you're probably going to May ult, right? The diva is just going to stand there and just DM you right after cryo, and if you May ult, it just gets eaten. And if by the time that even happens, guess what? You might have already lost someone because May's out of the picture and your ult's already gone. So the smart thing, right, is if this team knew that the enemy team had beat, right, and we have Mail, yes, we can like say like, oh, try and force their bubbles, try and force DM, whatever that is. But if they beat aggressive, we're gonna speed out, and then we'll look to re-engage with Mail. That's like the next level. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like contenders like shot calling probably, right? The basic shot calling is like, okay, we have Mail, right? Like that's good. Let's try and force DM. Like I'll try and flank as McCree to pressure Diva, or Diva like I'll play high ground, right? And I'll try and like pressure D.Va to look at me so we can get more value. I'll fire strike. Like again, people are calling their own cooldowns or resources to help force their resources, so our Mei will get value. Okay.
Can't get back.
Are they coming?
3 in point.
I'm gonna wall and I'm gonna wall.
Hold them off, hold them off.
They will not touch, they will not touch.
Okay, okay.
Ziva's close, Ziva's close. They
Yeah,
were
fine,
all
fine.
close.
I can wall. Are you ready? I can wall right.
See, he's calling.
Yeah.
And again, I notice he's calling it 3-2-1. Again, it's rinse and repeat. It's literally basics. It like I keep saying this, but literally all Overwatch is basics. And then basic just rinse and repeat. Where it's like rotations, positioning, like ult usage, ult economies, all basics. The question is, are you consistent about it? Can you do it every single time consistently and correctly? Right? If one time or two times you forget it, that could be it. You could just lose the fight, and that's it, right? So he's calling the same thing. So he messes up the Mei wall, but we still push really aggressively, right?
Careful, careful, careful.
I'm hiding.
What's the actual problem they did here? They made him one mistake. You guys see what the mistake is?
Hmm.
What do you mean by that? Walling early. Give me more.
Oh, wait, is it because Lucio left them and they can't speed around the wall?
One second.
Or
Yeah, say what you said, sorry.
Lucio left to dodge High Noon, and he left his team, and they can't speed around the wall.
Well, that's reasonable. But no, it's not it.
Hmm.
They were overzealous with the push. Why? Because they didn't actually push the cart to a position where the fight's actually forced to happen. If you look at this fight here, when they push here, right? They leave the cart, which is fine. This is not a really niche thing. But realize that like the cart is not forcing a fight. What normally forces fights is the cart positioning. Why? Because if a cart's right over here, right, the enemy team is going to try and push because of how corners are set up here, right? Your one fight team's playing this corner, one team's playing this corner. If the cart's right over here, once you start pushing that cart up more, right, the fight's 100% going to happen. With the cart being right over here, there's no way the enemy team expects a fight happening. But the problem with this is when you start fighting, guess what? Our Ana has to play over here now to heal everyone, right? Our Ana can't push the cart. So what they should have done is push the cart a little bit more, just a little bit more, so our Ana can play the cart and heal our team. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I guess oh. I have to like end in a few because I need a break between my next session. So again, this is ebb and flow. Like we'll quickly look at this last fight and then we'll. So there we go. So like we push in really aggressive with wall. They try and push in. They push, and at this point we're down 2. And when we just call we call reset, right? Which is a fine call. No, notice how they literally just jump off the map. Like they literally they just reset instantly. The one person could get out, gets out. Okay. So basically what I want you to take from this is sort of like, I mean, I like to use examples from high level play to like show like that high level Overwatch is nothing but basics and consistency. A lot of basics, right? Like a lot of basics, but it's all about basics and consistency. And I want to show you notice the difference in the comps. Like how it's not just one person talking mid fights, and it gets way more, like hyper, sort of, right? It's more tempo. It's like go, push, kite, push, kite, right? I can do this. Like, can we do this? Can we do this? It's a lot of basics, but it's a lot of that, like the mid fight stuff is very like rushy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a lot of the best way I say it is don't be make your decisions fast. Don't be like passive with your decisions, because if you're slow with your decision making, then the enemy team can beat you. Right? It's like nanoing, right? If you wait too long to nano, then your Ryan could not get the value of the nano, it can just die. If you nano your Ryan right instantly when you think you should do it, or even before you think you should do it, right? Then you might get value. Like Trance is a great example. I mean, I used to be a Zen player, and I'd Trance sometimes way too late, and my team would already die. Right? So, and why it would happen is because I would hesitate. I would think like, oh man, my gut says I should wait a little longer. Maybe I shouldn't wait a little longer. I'd hesitate. This little like thing in my head would say like, wait, now do it, right? But the thing being with Overwatch is if you hesitate, you're giving the enemy team an advantage. So it's much better to make a decision fast, right? And just have it, whether it's right or wrong, just make a decision. And believe it or not, you'll learn from it. If it's wrong, you'll probably never do it again, because you'll always remember it. If it's right, you'll probably remember it. And in all honesty, you'll probably be a lot faster in the future because you'll know that you can get away with that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, so like just being more proactive with your alts and like understanding stuff situations. So the biggest thing I want you to take away from this, because it was sort of all around the place, it wasn't really focused on one thing, right? Is sort of just understand like comm rolls and sort of understand mid fights that you need to have more tempo and understand like ebb and flow. As soon as you lose someone, right, the fight's not over. Like you can still turn the fight. Okay, does that make sense? And at your level, believe it or not, as soon as enemy team gets a pick, they will probably start playing a lot slower just because they think they've won. If you up the tempo as soon as you lose someone, I guarantee you will catch teams off guard and you will catch them with their pants down, literally, and you will just win the fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Questions?
Should I add a question? Okay, yeah. So as far as comms go, we don't have like a designated like leader. We all just kind of share ideas before, like in downtime between fights or like before the scrim starts and like certain maps. What's something that we could do to like work on our comms, especially like during mid fight, because we all get like really hectic and like all try to focus, like we all focus like different things. Is there anything that we could do to like work
So
on
I mean, I'd first say for focus on the basics. So what I mean by that is the basics is first just one second. Sorry. The basics are first just like have a solid target caller that's target calling consistently.
Yeah.
Have a solid shot caller that is shot calling consistently before fights. Before fights happen. So like after fights, alt tracking, shot calling. If you want to divide alt tracking and shot calling, that's fine, right? But make that consistent. The mid fights, don't worry about too much, right? But right now, have it so that everyone is responsible for their own ultimate mid fight.
Okay.
Put that on their hands. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's fine if your ult economy is shit. What I mean by that is like you use 5 ults and they use 3 and you win the fight. That doesn't matter. That stuff is like very niche things that can be fixed later on. Like very niche, trust me. It's not the biggest thing in the world. What's the biggest thing is you're forcing people to make decisions and decisions fast. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then the best part about that is people will learn if they're making the correct decisions or wrong, like correct or right or wrong decisions. That's what I'm getting at, right? Yeah. You'll learn a lot faster instead of sort of hesitating and being like, oh, should I do that? Should I do this? Then understand what are enablers and what are finishers. So at least everyone's sort of on the same page in terms of when alt should be used, right? Like, oh, you I have an enabler alt, right? So I should probably be using my alt really aggressively, right? Oh, I have a finisher alt. Okay, I can go first, but like I need a comment. I prefer going after an enabler though. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Questions? Other questions? Stop sharing my screen. Yeah, I mean, it was really all over the place, to be honest. I normally don't have sessions like this. Normally it's a lot more focused, but I just wanted to give you like an idea of like higher level play to give you hopefully some like, what's the word, like incentive to try and like work harder and not kid around as much in scrims.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, someone who's very vocal and can see things very well, like Reinhardt could do it. In Brawl, you could have your Mei do it because your Mei's freezing and your Mei's walling, and your tempo's set off Mei wall. So if your Mei's start calling, it sort of makes sense, right? You normally want to focus on your Mei's freezing, and you normally want to push when your Mei walls, right? So your Mei could do it. Your Ryan could do it. Your Kree sorta could do it. But I'd say that either option is really Ryan or Mei. Those are the best ones. But again, it comes down to also who's vocal on your team.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Questions? Other questions?
I don't have any.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a good idea, I think.
Okay. Wait, what'd you say, sorry?
Oh, I was just saying I have a good idea. I can't think of any other questions.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, feel free to DM me and whatnot if you have other questions. Let me know if you want me to come in the future. Next time, like, I'd prefer doing a scrim, though, because I think we can make more improvement in a scrim than a VOD review. Yeah. Because I can literally just fix things on the scene, and, like, you'll immediately notice, like, I'll force your tempo to be a lot faster, and I'll force you to focus on one thing and fix that one thing, if that makes sense. The reason, again, why I started showing you this is because I wanted to show you, like, I wanted to show you, like, a lot of the basics sort of I was talking about in, like, a good example. Because I think visually looking at, like, things, like, is a lot better than sort of just talking about the theory of it. If I just say the theory, like, it's, without an example, I guess, it's, in my opinion, it's hard to look at it. And it's also not as fun. So, yeah. Okay? Yep, no problem. Have a great day, guys, okay?
Thank you, you too.
Yep, bye.
My brain huge.
Yeah, I
That's
think
how
I'm
I feel
GM now. What the
right
heck?
Damn. Damn.
Dude, I think the ebb and flow thing, like I always understood counterplay, but I think
But-
the ebb and flow, just hearing it and then like actually seeing it,
It
especially with
makes
like the actual,
so much more sense.
yeah,
we
it's like,
had,
opened my
abstract
mind, bro.
concept. Exactly, we had the abstract concept of a lot of those things, but when it's put out like on the table for us like that, it's like so clear.
Yeah, that was really
Holy
good.
shit. Okay, I'm just gonna stop the recording. I have to go. I have a scrim with my LAN team like right now. Alright, I'll upload the whole thing on Streamable or something.
Okay, okay.
Alright, see ya guys.
Wait, you don't